We're checking weird effects that will distort your sound in unique ways. These plugins are made by Freak Show Industries, a developer that takes the weirdness to the next level. And the best part is that they are free. No, they are not free. The developer lets you steal their plugins if you don't want to pay the price. The only limitation is that you won't have customer support. So let's start with Dumpster Fire. Dumpster Fire is basically a pitch and formant shifter. Now, just the way it is, we cannot know what each thing does unless we start playing with it. If you press this size, you will have tooltips. That's right, we have the typical pitch shifting parameters such as cage, tooth, and ether. And the tooltip is not really helpful. Honestly, I like that because this lets me concentrate on the playfulness and experimentation part of sound design. Besides that, if you hover a parameter, you will see that cage is not only cage, but it's also Susie, a 4-year-old girl who sets the number of bands like a Bad Factory man tells her to. This makes me think that this is like a multi-band pitch shifter. As you could hear, tooth is the pitch shifting knob. Finally, the ether will add some sort of weird delay to the sound. It's a transdimensional being of pain that generates hellscapes. Working with Tommy, we have Jimmy and Sally. Jimmy, the focus will increase or decrease the pitch spread. And the aspect, or Sally, will scale the diameter times spread. The idea of these plugins is that you don't really know what you're doing, but the results are great. Now, if you think that's weird enough, we are just getting started. The next plugin is Backmask, which is essentially a reverser. This time, the tooltips are more helpful. The way it works is by triggering reversed repetitions of the sound. These 3 buttons on the left will change how a repetition is triggered. And this big knob right here will change the time. Then we have a trigger on level. For this we set a threshold, and every time the sound goes above the threshold, a repetition is triggered. We can reverse the whole signal divided in the size, or we can alternate the dry signal with the reverse. And the last one will reverse the signal randomly, and not only that, it's also going to pan it. Still, we can get a lot weirder. As you see, they really put a thought on how to make a scary and Lovecraftian interface. It can be a tape modulation, but of course it's so much more than that. Quality is of course the degradation effect. Distortion is a really subtle tape distortion effect, and we'll introduce a lot more of distortion and I think a little bit of decimation, I'm not really sure. And I think noise is the most normal parameter we have seen. The syncing is sort of tape wrapping, and we have controls for the rate, and delta is the amount. And the sort of 3-band EQ is actually a phase rotator for the low, mid and high frequencies. And I gotta say I quite like this little cute UI right here that changes every time we add a parameter. This is the lever of self-care. This will change a bit of the quality and the pitch of the tape. This knob right here is the code, which will add bit crushing. and selecting the maybe on the nice will give us these 4 parameters. Simply put, nice is a glitch effect, where you can set the length of the buffers, the probability will increase the chance of grabbing a new buffer, it works on the frequency spectrum, and we have controls for the frequency center of the effect and the width of the sound. I think this one is one of my favorite.
I would walk 1,000,000 miles just to look into you.
Now let's go to pocket dimension. This is an XY granular time shifting effect. If you click and hold on the screen, you will start zooming into the image and you will be able to move around the XY control surface. And that's the way you activate the time stretching. As you see, moving the LCNI vertically or horizontally will change the nature of the grains. The speed on which you zoom in and out depends on the attack and release. These 3 parameters will add different effects and behaviors to the grains. For instance, Void will add some sort of modulation effect, as chorus, flanger, whatever you want. Those will scatter the grains around the stereo image. And Secret will apply some pitch shifting and whatever else they decided to add. What makes this more playful is that you can also set each of these 3 parameters to the X or Y axis. For instance, we can use X to add those and Y to add secret.
I would walk 1,000,000.
Finally, this little button will activate or deactivate the option to create some sort of automation for the movement of the LCNI. Within Enable, it's going to move away from the point you're clicking, and is visualized by a little flying saucer. The rate will change the speed, and the depth will change how far away from the LCNI it will get. Now you can change the movement by choosing a different shape, and I think the flying saucer is going to try and follow it. Now, if you ask me, I believe this is a developer that centers its plugins around the idea of an experience, a weird, crazy and beautiful experience. They are not only fun to play with, but they also give you weird and useful sounds. Let me know in the comments what do you think about these effects. And also give a big like to this video. I will see you next time, and bye bye.